By the time February rolls around, you might be looking for an awesome national park vacation. Whether you want a warm weather destination or a cold, I'm sharing my favorite national parks to visit in February. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. You will find me in the national parks all months of the year. I am always looking for a great destination though in February. I feel like that's when my winter blues really kind of start hitting me, and it's like I just kind of want to get out. I want to go do something fun. And so I do typically take a pretty long national park vacation during the month of February. It's one of my favorite times to visit a few of these national parks that I'm going to talk about today. Before we jump in though, I want to show you something super cool. It's my National Parks by the Month list. And so I'm going to talk about parks that I like to visit in February, but I'm only talking about 5 of these today in the video. If you want to get this list, go to dirtinmyshoes.com/month. You can sign up for it there and you can get my list of my favorite parks to visit for every month of the year. Okay, so go get that list because it's super helpful. You can click links to each of the parks that are listed. You can see which parks I tend to be in during which months, and it's super helpful if you're looking for that month-by-month breakdown. But let's talk about 5 of my favorite national parks to visit in February right now. The first group of parks are all in the same state. We are heading to Florida for a nice warm weather destination in the month of February. Not only are we heading to Florida, but more specifically, the very bottom of Florida, where there are beautiful beaches and really nice weather this time of year. So national park number 1 that you will pretty much always find me in February is Everglades National Park. Everglades is inland from Miami. It's basically the whole bottom part of Florida, actually. So you do get some beaches, you do get some water, but typically you're kind of inland, walking through the hardwood areas and exploring the areas where there are just lots of alligators and birds. And it's a really cool destination, especially in February when you want to be warm. Wintertime is peak season in Everglades. You're going to want to be there during this time anyway. So you want to visit Everglades during the dry season, which is typically those winter months. That's when you're going to see the most wildlife. That's when the weather is going to be the best. That's when the mosquitoes are not going to be as bad. All of those things kind of come together to make it the perfect time to be in the Everglades. Park number 2 is very close to the Everglades, actually, and that is Biscayne National Park, which is also in Florida, and it's only about 45 minutes or so from the main sites in the Everglades. So you can hit both while staying in the same hotel. It makes it really easy. Biscayne, though, could not be more different than the Everglades. So whereas in the Everglades, you're on land, you're driving, there's actually quite a bit of driving in this park. It's quite large. And so you're driving around, you're seeing all the sights, you're stopping, you're getting out, you're hiking, stuff like that. Biscayne is not like that at all. Biscayne is actually 95% water. And so when you drive over to the visitor center at Biscayne National Park, you can walk around for a minute, you can learn some things in the visitor center, and that's pretty much all you can do on land. The key to having a good time in Biscayne is making sure that you plan for a couple of tours. Make sure that you sign up for something to get you away from the visitor center and out into the water portion of this park. You can take boat tours out to some of the islands. You can take boat tours to Stiltsville. You can do like a snorkeling or scuba diving tour. You can do kayaking, anything like that, but just something to get off the land and into the water is how you're going to most appreciate Biscayne National Park. Now, there is a caveat to visiting this park in February. And that's that it's not really like swimming weather per se on the beaches and in the ocean at this time. It's still a little bit early for that. You'll typically get temps around like the high 70s, maybe low 80s. So it's really nice, especially if you're coming from a cold state like I am, to, get to Florida and be able to wear shorts and a t-shirt. But as far as actually swimming in the water, it can be a little bit chilly. So we typically, again, will like make sure that we book a tour to go, boat around some of the islands in Biscayne or something like that. If you do any diving or anything, they'll give you the equipment you need. But just keep in mind, it's not exactly beach weather, but it is a really nice getaway in the middle of the winter. Now, the third park that you'll want to hit in February while you're already in Florida is Dry Tortugas National Park. So from the Miami area, where you already are to see Everglades and Biscayne, you're just going to drive south into the Florida Keys. It's a couple hours to get from Everglades out to Key West, which is the jumping off point for Dry Tortugas National Park. This park, seriously, it's pretty hard to get to. It's kind of expensive, but it will blow your socks off. It is such a cool national park and the perfect place to go in the month of February. So you'll get to Key West, you'll drive through the Florida Keys, which is just, a vacation all on its own, really. So you can enjoy your time in the Keys if you want to. You'll get all the way to the end of the road at Key West. And of course, Key West is just a premier destination by itself. There's a lot you can do in Key West, and it's a really fun vibe. We love coming here. So from Key West, then you can either take a boat or an airplane out even further west to Dry Tortugas National Park, which is just a series of a couple small islands. But there is a huge fort out here, Fort Jefferson, that you can take a ranger-led tour through, or you can wander through yourself. Your kids can do junior ranger program through the fort. It's really, really cool. It will absolutely amaze you that this is even out here, and the whole story behind it and the history of Dry Tortugas. It's just really cool. So you can do that, and then you can also go snorkeling in this area. There's some really great snorkeling right by the fort. And if you take the boat tour, then you get snorkeling gear included. And so that's a really fun way to spend your day. You just go out to Dry Tortugas for the day. Most people do that. You can camp, but most people just go out for the day and then come back to Key West. Okay, so those are my 3 favorite warm weather destinations for visiting the national parks in February. I am going to add a couple cold ones in there if you're wanting to experience the snow and if you're wanting to do some snow-related activities. Then these last 2 parks are my favorite places to go in February for those types of things. So park number 4 is Yosemite in California. Yosemite National Park is known for its giant granite cliffs and huge waterfalls. It is absolutely a world-class destination for rock climbing. There's a lot of really cool things you can do in Yosemite. It typically is a summer park, so most people do go during the summer so that they can do all those things I just mentioned. But the reason to go to Yosemite in February is something that's known as the Firefall. This happens only in February, only for a couple of weeks, but if the lighting is right and if the waterfall is flowing, which of course all of that is out of your control, but if all the conditions align, then what you will get is a waterfall that looks like it's on fire. It is absolutely an awesome experience to have. And so if you're wanting to go somewhere where you will be in the snow, you can do some snowshoeing. There actually is a small ski resort in Yosemite, so you can do that. But stay for the Firefall. You will have a harder time getting lodging reservations during this time. It is popular to try to come and see the Firefall. And Yosemite National Park usually requires you to have entrance reservations during this time as well. So keep that in mind. But what a cool experience to be able to see this waterfall that looks like it's on fire coming down the giant, beautiful granite cliffs of Yosemite National Park. And park number 5, the other place that you will find me in February in the national parks, is Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. Bryce Canyon during the winter is absolutely magical, and it's at like 9,000 feet above sea level. So the fact that they can even keep this park open is pretty surprising. It's pretty amazing. So it gets cold, it gets really snowy, but you can still come to this park. You can still see the beautiful amphitheater. There's nothing like seeing those red rock hoodoos covered in snow. It is just absolutely magical. A lot of times you can hike down into the amphitheater either with yak tracks on your shoes or snowshoes so that you have some grip. It can get icy, but if you come with the right gear and you're ready to explore the beautiful hoodoos covered in snow, there is not a better destination. Now, you can do those things all winter long, but the reason I particularly love coming to Bryce Canyon during February is this is when they have their annual winter festival. So they do special activities, lots of really cool stuff, lots of different types of stuff like archery or yoga or crafts, things like that. They will run out of Ruby's Inn, which is just right outside of Bryce Canyon National Park. So come to this park, be prepared with really warm gear. Make sure you have your yak tracks or cross-country skis or snowshoes. You can also rent those at Ruby's Inn if you don't have your own, but make sure you're ready for the conditions, and then you can just get out and explore the park in a way that most people never get to see it. All right, well, that's where you're gonna find me in February. Hopefully I see you out there as well. Again, if you want that list of my favorite national parks to visit month by month, be sure to go to dirtinmyshoes.com/month to sign up for that. I'll also put the sign up below this video in the description so that you can sign up easily there too. Have a fun and safe time in these February national parks.